Hello. Hello. Welcome to my Facebook Live. My name's Dion Johnson. I'm strategic ally and master coach to women in senior leadership. And I'm jumping on Facebook Live right now because there's a thought going around in my head based on a couple of conversations that I've had recently. And I want to share with you a big mistake that I see too many women in senior leadership making. So I welcome you to this broadcast. I thank you for joining me. As you join, put your name in the chat box. Let me know where it is that you're watching from. And I'm going to just dive straight in. I can see you joining, so go ahead and put your name in the chat box and say hi to me so I know who's watching. I'm going to jump straight in because you guys know that my thing is supporting and teaching and helping women in senior leadership, established senior leaders all around the UK and internationally. Hi Dee, thank you for joining me. And I'm so passionate about supporting women in senior leadership. And even though I believe in leadership at all levels, so I believe that if you are in the workplace, if you are employed or running your own business or working for somebody else's business, I believe that we're all leaders. And I think the key to a really effective marketplace is leadership at all levels. But somebody's been asking me this week, why do I target and work with senior leaders? And you know what? It started, I want to speak to that today. I want to speak to why I choose to work with senior leaders and also one big mistake that I see senior leaders making and how you can stop it if you recognize this. And here's the one big mistake. The one big mistake that that I see senior leaders making is that they just stop addressing their own personal development needs. They stop addressing their own personal development needs. And that's what I want to speak to today. It's a huge mistake if you get to senior leadership and then you just stop thinking about, hi Stacey, thanks for joining. Stop thinking about your own development. And I want to talk a bit more about that today because here's the thing. I see that so many of us are cool in senior leadership, so cool with learning new skills. We're comfortable to be senior leaders on a course or receiving help to upskill. So using new software or learning about a new accounting package or something like that. We're really okay with that kind of training. And, we're okay with acquiring new knowledge like employment law updates or staff management situation, managing sick, or, we're okay with that. But there's a whole other thing when it comes to self-development, when it comes to addressing our personal struggles, when it comes to looking at our performance gaps, when it comes to reviewing who we are actually being in leadership and how we're showing up and how other people are seeing us. That kind of development, that kind of activity, I see that some senior leaders are really reluctant to get engaged in once they reach a certain level of leadership. In 2013, I was invited by a CEO. I met this woman, a CEO, and she asked me to come and work with some of her team. She asked me to come and work with aspiring leaders or potential leaders. She had a lot of talent that she recognized in her organization, but there was a block in the way that they were stepping up into leadership positions and staying there. So lots of people would step up but leave. So she asked me to come and do some work. This was in 2013. I asked me to come and do some work with her aspiring leaders or potential leaders. And it was a really amazing opportunity. Here's the thing. The thing that I remember most about working with a few of the people that were in her team was the word frustration. Everybody was frustrated. They were so frustrated, frustrating. They all knew what was frustrating in the environment. And, and more often than not, the people that I work with would point up. They would point up to the senior leadership office, point up to the senior leadership team, as the butt of their frustration. So coaching was fantastic. Coaching really helped, and lower down, the coaching process really started to help people to see that they were part of the process for improving the organization. They started to really become alive to their calling as change makers and leaders, even at their own level. And it was fantastic. But here's what happened. They got all fired up, and then there was this like bottleneck. It's like they hit a ceiling when it come to facilitation of those ideas and that leadership aspiration from senior leadership. Senior leadership seemed to be like this ceiling that they couldn't get past. So the organization didn't get better as a result of these fired up workers. The organization seemed to hit a bottleneck that nothing could happen without the sanctioning of the senior leaders. And I saw that so loud and clear, and I realized that if I was going to make a difference, I was going to have to find a way to help senior leaders. I remember one year, I think it was 2014, I had an event for aspiring leaders, and I invited a panel of senior leaders to come. And every one of those leaders, as I spoke with them in preparation, and even on the day, I kept feeling like, in my conversation, I kept feeling like, you're here to help me speak to these people, but I really want to help you. I recognize that behind the mask, behind the facade, behind the title, behind the position, there was a real woman with real struggles. And I wanted to help with that. It's like there's this unwritten rule that when you reach senior leadership, you have to keep face and stay credible. You have to stay in control. You've got to stay closed and comfortable and not let everybody see that you might have struggles. But here's the truth. Some leaders, some senior leaders, all of us in senior leadership don't always know the answer. You don't always have the answer. That as senior leaders, you have flaws and development needs. The truth is that as senior leaders, you don't always have control or know what to do. So it's really, really important, I feel, that we have to address this, that we have to give ourselves permission to not always know, not always have arrived, not always know what to do. But we haven't stopped evolving, and therefore we shouldn't stop evolving. We shouldn't stop the process. We shouldn't switch off our senior leader evolutionary process. We shouldn't stop growing. So here, what I've done is I've identified 3 red flags to see if this is pertaining to you. That if you have come to a place where you kind of dropped the ball a bit on your own development. The first red flag is that when you're thinking about organizational and staff developmental needs, you talk about they. You say they need, or we should get this for them. And you don't say for us, or for we, or me. Check that out. Check out if when you think about staff development, you include yourself. So when you think about what your organizational development needs are, or what your staff need, do you think that you need it too? Red flag if you don't include yourself in that. I've got to tell you that I'm saying this with the utmost honor and respect, that I realize, I do understand how challenging it can be to hold face, to keep credible, to appear credible. But it's really important that you please think about including yourself in the staff development mindset of things. The other red flag is that you avoid facing your own challenges. You avoid facing your own development needs, especially those that question how you relate to others, or question your thinking around making decisions. I really want you to think about this red flag. Do you get a mirror out? Do you get a spotlight out and look at yourself, or are you looking at everybody else's performance? Really important. And the third red flag is that you don't invest in your own challenge. You don't invite your challenge for yourself. So I think coaching is the answer, the way forward for getting people for putting yourself in the learner seat, putting yourself in the training seat, putting yourself in the spotlight for people to challenge who you're being at work. I think that it's really important to get yourself into a place where you can divulge your fears, divulge your struggles, divulge your own situations, and allow someone to enter into dialogue with you around them. I completely get how challenging this is for us as senior leaders, though. I know that it's really important to stay credible, for your team to have faith in you, for you to seem certain and in control. But suppressing and depressing and ignoring the signals for greater development and the call to evolve is a real problem. And it means that your challenges, your flaws, your issues go completely unchallenged. They don't get fixed, that they stay. People in the organization start saying things like, oh, that's just the way she is, or that's just the way he is, and that's just the way things are around here. And it stifles influence at every level in the organization. So there is another level. There is another level to be unlocked and for you to evolve in, another level of influence, another level of leadership, even if you're at the top, even if you're the head of the department, even if you're the head of the organization. That senior leaders still have a way to grow. There is still another level. And the way to unlock that level is to remain coachable, to remain teachable, to actively pursue help to develop, actively pursue. So I think it's crucial to give yourself the permission and the time and the investment to evolve. Give yourself the time, the investment and the permission to evolve. And the best way that I know to do that is to master the art of creating a supportive network, a growth network. So what I thought I would do for this video is to give you 5 people that I want you to right now be thinking about who those people could be in your leadership and life. All right, the first one is your captain. All right, so every senior leader, every woman of influence needs somebody who has higher authority, who has who is a captain in the industry or captain in the organization, who has responsibility for more than just you and your remit. Somebody, if you're the head in your organization, then look for a captain of industry or a captain of captains in that industry. There's always someone that you could turn to and create a strategic alliance with, who's able to help you with visioneering and help you to think about the way that you should go and think about what's happening, and having oversight and knowledge and in-depth intelligence about what's happening in your sphere of influence and in your and in the regions where your sphere of influence directly impacts. So a captain is crucial to women of influence who are interested in continuing their own evolution. The second is a champion, someone who will sponsor you and shout about you and tell people how fantastic you are and have doors open for you, connect you with other people that can help you to keep stepping up, to keep evolving. And the other thing about having a champion or a sponsor is that the more that somebody else is tooting your horn, if you like, speaking up about how great you are, it means it kind of frees you up to be able to be healthily taking inventory about where your development needs are. That you don't always have to be. I've met so many women in senior leadership, and myself included, before I began to get really challenged in this area, that would, just refuse to admit, to admit out loud what I didn't know or what I can't do or where my growth needs are. If you have a sponsor or a champion tooting your horn for you, it relieves you a bit so that you can start to look at yourself more honestly. So the third person that you need in your crew or your growth development network is a cheerleader. every senior leader, every woman of influence needs someone to go, woohoo, you can do it. Tell you that you're the best thing since sliced bread. You just can do no wrong for them. Everybody needs somebody who's going to be cheering you on, especially if you're going to continue and commit to growing. Because you see, when you start to decide that you're going to not just stay focused on what you're majoring at, but also be looking to develop the areas that are right for development, then sometimes that process can be a bit wounding. Like looking at what's not working isn't always the best thing. So with a cheerleader, there's always somewhere you can go where you can get encouragement, be brought back to your greatness, someone to tell you're fantastic, you can do no wrong, you're the bee's knees. Every senior leader needs a cheerleader. So who's your cheerleader? Okay, the fourth person that you need is a co-creator. I'm telling you that too many of us are struggling to do the job alone. And as we step up, especially into unfamiliar territory, as we step up to do things that we don't know how to do, it's really crucial that you have somebody who can roll up their sleeves and get in the trenches with you and make things happen. I'm thinking about the co-creator that will be up at 3 o'clock in the morning helping you to write that proposal or to figure out how to do this when you've never done it before. Someone who's going to really stick by you, who you can be vulnerable with and say, I've got no idea where I am and what I'm doing. Right side seems upside down. I just don't know how to proceed. And someone who's going to roll up their sleeves and get in the trenches with you and make things happen. Make things happen. Handle your responsibilities over here while you go over there to see a new thing, or be in this new thing trying to work out how it all goes together. Co-creators, every senior leader, every woman of influence needs a co-creator. So who's your co-creator? And of course, the fifth one is a challenger. Every senior leader needs someone who's going to be up close and personal, behind the mask, as I like to say, who's going to be calling you up on your stuff and going to be asking you to explain yourself and asking you to think about what you're doing or how that could be different, or how you're showing up, or who you're being. Someone who's going to be able to ask you challenging questions that make you say, ouch. And someone who's going to challenge you to get in situations where you haven't got this down, you aren't aced, but that when you lose your composure or when you lose your control, that challenger knows all straight through. That's never going to compromise the way that they see you and your capacity and your greatness. Like, your greatness will never be up for question with your challenger. So that's a coach or a mentor or a trainer or a consultant, someone who's called to challenge you to grow, challenge you to evolve. So those are 5 people that I'm really suggesting that you can find right now in your network, or expand your network to find, and invest time and invest money and invest high honesty. We're almost wrapping up. We're talking about the big mistake that I see some senior leaders making, in that they're not developing themselves personally. They're ignoring their personal growth and development needs. And so we were talking about the what to do about that. I hope you get a chance to watch the video again. But these 5 people, your captain, your champion, your cheerleader, your co-creator, and your challenger, are 5 people who you really need in your arsenal to make sure that you don't stop evolving and becoming more and more the woman of influence that you are actually born to be, that you're called to be, and at this time in history, it's imperative that you become. So I really love to hear what you've got to say about this. As you watch the video, maybe start to think about who are your support and growth network. Who's in that for you? Who's calling you to continue to evolve? Because it's not the end. You haven't arrived. Senior leadership is not the end. There's another level of influence, another level of leadership for you as a woman and a leader and a change maker. captain. Yeah, watch the video, honestly, because I'm about to jump off. So go back and watch the video and let me know what you think. And identify your captain, your champion, your cheerleader, your co-creator, and your challenger. Until next time, I'll see you later. See you later. Bye.